Happy Halloween, guys. Trick or treat. Well, not quite yet, but almost. And with Halloween, 1-2 days away, I wanted to, well, get us into the mood of things. I've already came up with my top 10 overused creatures in Hollywood for horrors and whatnot. Well, I'm saving the best for last. My top 10 video games, zombie video games, and horror video games. But tonight, I wanted to take a look at Hollywood again. Except this time, it's my top 10 favorite Hollywood monsters. And Hollywood has done some great job with the monsters. It's for my favorite. For me, it's just something thinking about how to deal with them, what makes them scary. But looking at every single monster that Hollywood has created for us, all these horror films and whatnot, looking at the makeup, do yourselves a favor. Watch one episode of the Jim Henson's workshop, where they have people coming in trying to create these monsters. Watch one episode of that reality tournament thing where they try and create these makeup artists create all sorts of monsters. Watch cosplay. The amount of work that these people put in, it's unbelievable. And it goes unnoticed. I mean, basically, when we go to theaters to watch movies, watch TV series, who gets the biggest credit? The actors, because they're on screen. There's there's nobody that gives the CGI guys who's on the computers making the explosions and whatnot. There's no thankfulness for the makeup artist who's putting the actors' makeups on, who's creating these scary images that the actors can work with. There should be, we have the Oscars for greatest actors and actresses and whatnot. There should be, something for the CGI computer guys, something for the makeup artists, something for the stunt people. At least that's my opinion. And my top 10 monsters list pretty much it's the total for me. It's the makeup work, it's the craziness, the fear factor, the unknowing. Now, my number 10 is actually an old horror film. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't know this character, but it's basically the Maniac Cop. The movie he was in is Maniac Cops 1, 2, 3. Basically a cop that was killed on duty comes back to life and pretty much kills or tries to kill everybody that breaks the law. But then the cops try and stop him, and he starts killing the cops. Go figure. But, as a kid, I remember watching this, and it was pretty intense, I mean, now you watch it and you laugh, but for the time that it was out, everything that was put into it, like the blood and the gore, was pretty awesome. It freaked me out, I won't lie. It was pretty much... Now it's pretty much as campy as probably Toxic Avenger, but even that, it was, it's crazy. And I still like Maniac Cop. My number 9. Have you ever seen the movie Darkness Falls? The Tooth Fairy. I mean, I still have no idea what the hell that thing was. It was scary. And it was crazy. Number 8. Michael Myers from Halloween. Honestly, I think for Halloween it was... Well, for Halloween and Friday the 13th, it was the whole music when they appeared that made it even scarier. But the guy that they got to play Michael Myers always seemed bigger than life. Bigger than anybody in the movie. Especially when Rob Zombie did the remake. This guy was huge. He looked like a monster. Now I get it. It's not that scary, but I don't know. He's my number 8. Now my number 7, speaking of Friday the 13th, is Jason Voorhees. Come on. This was like a juggernaut with a freaking machete in his hand. That alone is scary as hell. He was unstoppable, huge, thank God he only stayed within that little area that he was. Crystal Lake. Well, the Super Nintendo game wasn't... Was it Super Nintendo or Nintendo? It wasn't that bad. I enjoyed myself. Number 6. Leatherface. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original was very crazy. Very gory. When they did the reboot, they tried, they tried hard to make it as gory and crazy as the original. But honestly, the original just scared the crap out of me. The remake was really good. It was done really well. But I don't know, guys. It just, they had some hot women. The story was there. It just didn't play on my mind. For me, the reboots was more shock and awe, while the originals screwed with your mind. And for those who actually don't know, in Japan they actually made Jason Voorhees and Leatherface into professional wrestlers. Our guys dressed up as them. They were pretty much hardcore wrestlers, but they were pretty cool. Something you guys should actually look up and watch. They had some very brutal death matches, what it's called in Japan. Nothing like what's here in America. American hardcore matches would probably be their normal matches. Just saying. Number 5. The Predators. I mean, these things were huge. They're crazy. They looked awesome though. They had the coolest and greatest weapons. They were the greatest hunters in the galaxy. I mean, if you didn't fear a predator, you were insane. Number 4, aliens, the xenomorphs. The only things that probably didn't fear the predators. These things had hard shells, exoskeletons. Their blood was acid. They were pretty big, bigger than a normal human. Very unstoppable. I mean, even if you shot them, if you were too close, acid spray, you'd be dead. If you were close enough for them to grab you, raise your claws, you'd be dead. If you still wasn't close enough for them to grab you, their tail could impale you, you'd be dead. These things were made to kill, plain and simple. And unfortunately, most ways to create a xenomorph is by a facehugger connecting to something that's living. And depending on the animal that it connected to, it would create different xenomorphs. And that was the coolest part about the xenomorphs. They actually had this game, this real-time strategy game, like Command and Conquer, but it was Aliens vs. Predator. I think it was Aliens vs. Predator Extinction for the PlayStation 1, I believe. But most of the fun in that game was taking a facehugger and finding something to pretty much connect to and seeing what pops up. It was a surprise every single time. Number 3, as crazy and dangerous as the aliens and the xenomorphs are, there was one thing that I thought was even worse. And that was The Thing. From John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, that thing was pretty intense. It pretty much almost killed everybody in that Arctic scientific dig or whatever it was. I remember the most intense part for me was watching that dog. Remember as the thing kind of broke out of it and it looked kind of like a dog with crazy things coming out of it? That movie to this day is one of my favorites for like just graphics. Alright, number 2. Another oldie but goodie, Shocker. Same name, same movie, same everything. The concept of Shocker was he was this serial killer crazed character who they tried to electrocute. And through some freak storm accident, instead of electrocuting him, they actually turned him into some kind of electrical supernatural being. And he went on a rampage, because let's face it, who can stop a supernatural being that's just made of electricity? You know, looking at all these versus movies, you know, Jason versus Freddy, Aliens versus Predator, one of the craziest movies I've always wanted to see when I was younger was Maniac Cop versus Shocker. The cop versus the criminal. Probably never happen now, but hey, it's Hollywood. Anything can happen, right? My number 1 favorite, most outrageous monster for me Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I mean, come on, this was a child molester who got burnt to death, who came back as this supernatural being that haunts nightmares. And it proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you die in your nightmare, you die in reality. That alone could give you nightmares. You know, watching how they put the makeup on him, all the, you know, burnt flesh, the claws. I don't know, it's just a standout to me that Freddy Krueger was the being. You know, like I said, they did Jason versus Freddy. I'm glad Jason won because, you know, honestly, out of the two of them, I kind of like Jason better as more of a face, as Freddy seems more of a heel. I don't know, Freddy just seems more out there. Jason just kill, kill, kill. But anyway, that's my list of my favorite top 10 Hollywood monsters. I know there's a lot of other monsters out there. But you know, what can I say? These are my top 10. Hit me up with yours. Or, you know, what do you think of these guys? Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Take care. Have a great night. See you guys soon.